notice how sometimes life just pulls the rug right from under your feet? One moment you think you've got it all figured out, and the next, boom, the truth hits you like a thunderstorm at midnight. That's exactly what's said to have happened to poor Prince Harry. Bless his heart, that man thought he'd seen everything. But no, baby, he hadn't seen this. Word is, Harry's been left completely stunned after stumbling upon something he never imagined. Something about Meghan and a yacht and, of all people, Prince Andrew. Lord, even saying it out loud sounds like a scandal waiting to explode. Now, according to those who claim to know the truth, Harry didn't have the faintest idea that Meghan had ever crossed paths with Andrew before they got together. He believed every word she said about being an outsider, a humble actress, someone who'd never been anywhere near royal circles. That's the fairy tale she sold him, and he bought it like it was gospel. But then came the whispers. And those photographs. The ones that allegedly show Meghan in places she had no business being. On a yacht, honey. Not just any yacht, one tied to people connected to Jeffrey Epstein's dark little empire. When Harry saw it, they say his whole world tilted. He couldn't deny it, couldn't unsee it. That was the moment everything began to unravel. You see, the story of Meghan's innocence, the one that painted her as a victim, as a girl from Hollywood swept into royal life, it started to look like a performance. And baby, the palace? They've been quiet. Too quiet. Because if Andrew's life got ruined over his connections, why has Meghan's alleged proximity been kept hush-hush? Remember how fast Andrew fell? Overnight, his reputation just crumbled to dust. Epstein, Virginia Roberts, that disastrous BBC interview, every move he made was picked apart, every headline screaming shame. The palace pushed him right into the shadows like he never existed. But funny thing, though the same media that ripped Andrew apart has stayed silent when it comes to Meghan's alleged link to those same circles. No questions, no investigations, no statements from Buckingham Palace, just eerie silence. And when the royals go quiet like that, child, you know something's being protected. They say it's not an accident. Oh no, honey, it's deliberate. The silence itself is the first clue. Because if people started digging into Meghan's past, the palace would have to answer some mighty uncomfortable questions. Like, why wasn't her background ever fully investigated? Why was she shielded while Andrew was sacrificed? And most importantly, who's benefiting from keeping her spotless in the public eye? That silence, baby, it's loud. And here's where the story takes a twist straight out of a soap opera. Insiders whisper that Prince Andrew himself has been confiding in his friend, saying there was once a not-so-secret friendship, maybe more, between him and Meghan long before Harry was ever in the picture. You can imagine what that kind of revelation would do. It flipped the whole royal narrative upside down. Meghan's entry into royal life wasn't a Cinderella story at all. Oh no, it was a calculated climb. She didn't stumble into the palace by accident. She was already mingling with the very people who lived behind those palace walls. Now, Meghan's defenders swear she never knew Andrew, but those close to him? They insist otherwise. They claim Andrew remembers her clearly. They claim there was familiarity, shared spaces, shared company. They say Harry was completely in the dark. And if that's true, oh Lord, it explains everything. The way Meghan walked into royal life like she already owned the room, the way she never flinched at protocol, the way she carried herself as though the crown couldn't deny her even if it tried, it all starts to make sense. They say Harry's heart broke when he realized it. Because the one thing he believed was sacred, their love story might have been orchestrated all along. If Meghan knew Andrew first, then Harry wasn't her first royal connection. He was simply the one who took the bait. Then came those yacht photos. You know the ones people whispered about years ago? Back in 2014, pictures surfaced showing Meghan aboard a luxury yacht connected to Karina Shuliak Epstein's last known girlfriend. And Karina herself said she only ever traveled with Epstein. So, baby, if that's true, then Meghan's presence there isn't just a coincidence, it's a connection. A direct one. The public didn't question it. The palace pretended it didn't exist. But insiders? They saw those photos. They followed the trail. They knew exactly what it meant, and they buried it. Because if Meghan was in that world, she wasn't just a TV actress with big dreams. She was already moving among the powerful, the privileged, and the dangerous. And that, they say, was the moment Harry's illusion started to crumble. The moment he could no longer deny that Meghan's past wasn't as clean as he believed. Because, honey, when a yacht connects you to Epstein's circle, that's not gossip anymore, that's evidence. And then, child, the story gets darker. Legal insiders whispered that Virginia Roberts herself, yes, the woman who took on Prince Andrew, had considered calling Meghan Markle as a witness. Not because Meghan was a duchess, not because she was famous, but because she allegedly had been there. Around the same people, in the same environments, at the same time. Think about that. You don't call a stranger to testify. You call someone who saw, someone who knew. That's why people started asking quiet questions. How exactly did Meghan know Andrew? How many times had they been in the same spaces? And why was all of this hidden so perfectly? But just when that fire was about to burn through the palace walls, everything went silent again. Boom, case closed. No witness lists, no leaks, nothing. It was like the earth swallowed the truth whole. The scandal took Andrew down but somehow skipped right over Meghan as though she'd never even been part of that world. But oh, she was. And the people who were there still remember. Now, to really understand how Meghan got so close to royalty, you have to rewind to 2011 when she landed in Toronto for Suits. According to those who watched it all unfold, she didn't climb her way up the social ladder, she was placed there. carefully, deliberately, by a man named Marcus Anderson. Remember that name, child, because Marcus wasn't just a friend, he was a connector. The kind of man who knows how to open the right doors for the right people. He had ties to Soho House, that private playground for celebrities, aristocrats, and politicians who don't want the world watching. And guess who he introduced Meghan to? Jessica Mulroney, high society business families, and the kind of socialites who sip champagne with London's elite. That's how Meghan entered those royal adjacent circles, not by luck, but by design. She was being positioned, lifted, ushered into power. She learned how to walk like she belonged there, talk like she belonged there, and soon, baby, she started believing she did belong there. And this is where another juicy detail comes in. Meghan was reportedly friends with Princess Eugenie long before she met Harry. She said it herself once, but nobody thought too hard about what that meant. If that's true, then Meghan's introduction to Harry wasn't fate, it was strategy. It wasn't some accidental romance, it was part of a social circle that already included Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. And speaking of Fergie, oh child, word is she saw right through Meghan from day one. Not because Meghan was an actress or an outsider, but because Fergie recognized that hungry spark, the same kind of ambition that once burned in her own eyes. She allegedly kept Meghan at arm's length, made sure she didn't get too close to Andrew. Territorial, they say. Fergie might have lost her title, but she wasn't about to let another woman step too close to the world she still considered hers. When that door closed, they say Meghan shifted gears. Harry became the next target. And baby, Harry was easy prey, lonely, lost, aching for love, desperate for purpose. He wanted to be someone's hero, and Meghan gave him that illusion. What started as friendship with Eugenie turned into access, and that turned into marriage. But if Fergie, Eugenie, and Andrew all knew Meghan before Harry did, then each one of them holds a piece of a story the world hasn't seen yet, and that makes them dangerous. Now here's where things really heat up. Sources close to Andrew say he feels betrayed, furious even. He lost everything, while Meghan, who allegedly moved in the same circles, walked away clean, even celebrated. They say he's bitter as sin, sitting there with a head full of secrets, threatening quietly that if he ever spoke, Meghan's whole fairy tale would shatter overnight. He hasn't said a word publicly, but people close to him claim he's thinking about it. Because what does he have left to lose? His reputation's already gone, his title stripped, his dignity battered. And a man with nothing left to lose? Oh, that's a dangerous man, darling. Meanwhile, Harry's fighting his own demons. They say he's finally seeing the truth. He spent years denying that Meghan's past isn't what he thought, that she played a part he never knew existed. Insiders whisper that he's disgusted, shaken to his core, and emotionally destroyed. The man barely visits the UK anymore, barely speaks to his family. He looks isolated, lost in California, trapped in the very life he built for her. The whispers say he feels like he sacrificed his home, his bloodline, and his crown, not for love, but for lies. The saddest part? He once thought he was rescuing Meghan from the royal family. Now, it seems the royal family might have been trying to rescue him from her, and yet no one in the palace dares to speak. The media pretends none of it exists. Everyone's walking on eggshells because this scandal doesn't just brush Meghan or Andrew, it reaches the monarchy itself. If Meghan's alleged ties were exposed, the palace would have to admit they knew and covered it up. And if that ever got out, the monarchy's reputation could crumble worse than it did during the abdication crisis. So they keep quiet. The press stays loyal, the story stays buried, but those who know the truth, they're still alive. And honey, patience runs out eventually. Because royal scandals always follow a pattern. First comes the whisper, then the denial, then silence, then the drip, then the flood. And baby, we're already in the drip. People say there are photographs, there are witnesses, there are names, dates, and faces. And the ones holding those secrets aren't random outsiders. They're Andrew, Fergie, and Eugenie. 3 people with nothing left to lose, watching from the outside, just waiting for the right moment to speak. And when that moment comes, the walls of Buckingham Palace won't just shake, they'll fall. Because this isn't just about Meghan's ambition or Andrew's disgrace, it's about power, access, and deception. It's about the truth the palace has buried for years, finally clawing its way to the surface. And as every insider whispers the same chilling thing, scandals don't die, they wait. And this one? It's waiting for the day silence becomes impossible. When it breaks, baby, it won't just ruin Meghan's carefully crafted story. It won't just crush Harry's fragile peace. It won't just expose Andrew's bitterness. It'll shake the monarchy itself, right down to its glittering golden foundations.